Welcome in to another episode of Watchmen, the 82 podcast, the podcast brought to you by the established 1982, dedicated to the HBO series Watchmen. I'm your boy Wally Analog, and I'm joined, of course, by my homie that just happens to be not the Shinobi, because the Shinobi is not here, but it is his birthday.
You threw me off.
I know. It is. I call him the benevolent Suge Knight.
We got
the Bizarro Suge Knight, Rolls Royce Elite.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And look, we have the pleasure of having today co-workers of mine whose opinion I value greatly as it relates to geek culture. One of which I've actually worked with in some capacity for 10 years. It's been 10 years?
I think so.
10 years, my man, Jason Turan. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, man, we talk about everything from Dr. Dre to now Watchmen. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's my guy right there. I would trust him with my own children. And I would imagine that he would trust me with his brand new child that he's had recently. Congratulations, sir. We would take very good care of your young lady in the event the need arises.
Sounds like a deal.
And of course, my man, another co-worker of mine, I value him. He is an enigma, if you will, as he is old school, trapped in a millennial's body. Willis Kelly. What you talking about, Willis Kelly? Thank you, sir, for joining us.
He needs an
Glad
alias,
to be here.
Man.
Glad to be here.
Sounds like a superhuman power. You know? Old school in a millennial body.
I'm trying to tell you.
The curmudgeon.
We will be talking about old school stuff. He'll just shout out old Atari references, and you're not even old. You weren't born when Atari was out. Are you even 20 anything? Or what are you, 25?
I'm almost into the 30s now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's still a young guy. Just he's got a millennial's body, but an old man's soul.
I've gotten dust in my eyes from the cartridges, blowing them out.
That's right. See old school references. Man after my own heart. But as we will continue, thank you again to everybody that has jumped on to listen to us rant and we don't rant too much on this show. We love this show. On this show.
Oh, let's see.
See, he made a face. I'm talking about this show.
This
No,
show.
we have nothing negative as of yet to say about this show.
Right.
But this is a podcast that is not beholden to sponsors or anybody else. But we have to say nothing but pleasantries. We keep it real 100% of the time.
Shots fired. What podcast just came out?
I'm not talking about any podcast in
all right.
particular.
Be careful.
Okay.
All right.
But we do tell the truth. If you listen to any other podcast we have on our network, you will know that we keep it 100% real and honest all the time. If we don't like it, we'll say it. If we like it, we'll say it. So, but as it relates
and
to
if we put out some garbage facts, we'll clean
we
it
will
up.
come back and clean it
and
up.
say, hey, sorry, didn't know what I was talking about.
Everything
here.
we say is fact.
Right.
Everything.
Okay. All right.
Everything. But before we get started, we want to acknowledge those who have been so kind as to patronize us on patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. That is patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. If you would like to support financially as well as with your time, you could do that, as have what we call the District 9 on 9 supporters that have been out there that have given anywhere from $1 to $25 to this endeavor. And we so thank you. Starting with my lovely wife, Carrie Ledbetter, thank you so much for your support. Raphael M. Jordan, thank you so much. We have Terrence, don't call me Richie Rich. We have Jamal Weidman representing that Philly. Thank you so much for your support. We have Brandon Enigmatic 52, King, our Madden representative. Yes, a Madden connoisseur. Militant Billy, thank you so much for your support, as well as the Professor. Root to both of those cues. Thank you so much. We have Johnny Prototype representing out there in Cali, and last but certainly not least, Tori Moore in the ATL. So, without any further ado, and we do say thank you again for that. Without any further ado, we will get into the episode. Now, before we do that, we pride ourselves as being a Watchmen podcast in particular that. We discuss more than just these, lack of a better term, I hate to say superficial, the surface stuff, right? The
Easter eggs.
Yeah. I mean, we understand that in geek culture, people are more interested in that. They want to hear about, the fighting and the comic book lore and all of that. But this show is bringing a whole lot more. It wouldn't be an HBO show if they didn't do that in particular. So we just wanted to get the perspective of as many people as we can. And those of you that follow the podcast, you know that Rose and I are two members of the African American community, and this show is one that touches on a lot of racial elements. So we thought it would be good to get a perspective from those in the white community, our white brothers in the geek community, as to not seem biased and appear afraid to talk about things that a lot of people here apparently on the web don't like to hear about.
Very triggered.
Yes, and now
Very
if you listen to the 82 podcast, you know the credo. If you're scared, get a dog. We're not scared. And so that's what we do. So we're gonna go around the table real quick and just give our first impressions of episode 3. What was the title? It was the space show.
She was killed by Space Junk.
They always hit you with the crazy stuff.
Such a great title.
Yeah,
it's a great title, and it's the punchline to the joke that was told during the whole episode.
Yeah. So they keep it.
That dawned on me later. I was like,
it always dawns on you
is.
later. All of the episode titles dawn on you later. So without any further, we'll go around the room and just get everybody's initial reaction and feelings on this episode. Starting with my man Willis Kelly, the old man trapped in a millennial.
We're gonna have Alias by the end of this podcast.
I'm liking it. Well, my biggest thing that I enjoyed about this episode was having Laurie Blake back. I think if you'd been paying attention to who was in the show, you probably knew this. I had not been doing that. I'd just been sitting back watching it as it comes, and to actually finally see the tie-in to, I don't care if you watched the movie or you read it, the tie-in to what was before and how it just keeps the story alive.
Right.
It was fantastic to see that character pop in and then walk out of DC into Tulsa and just say, hey, this is a much larger story going on as well. Everybody's involved and everybody's paying attention.
Right.
Yeah. Jason, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, so for me, I was very skeptical when I heard that Watchmen had been announced. I was a big fan of the graphic novel and somewhat of a fan of the movie. Probably less of a fan now, but just really learned and grown to appreciate the graphic novel over the years. And so, kind of kept my guard up. But heard Damon Lindelof was producing the show and writing, and so watched the first episode and definitely made me curious. Like, wait, I like this. The second episode was okay. Now they've got my attention,
right.
And it was really this episode that just kind of put me all in. From let me cue this up on the DVR and watch it sometime this week, to telling my wife with our newborn, like, hey, if you're working on Sunday night, we need to get a sitter here because I need to watch this show when it comes out. But the episode itself, I love what they did with Laurie Blake's character. I feel like she was probably the most marginalized or underdeveloped character in the graphic novel. Kind of a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sexified and just kind of treated more like an object. But this was a very multi-layered individual that was kind of broken, very cynical, very focused, very intelligent, but just emotionally all over the place, torn up underneath. And I loved how they shot the episode. I loved how there was this convergence between the old storyline and the new, where there were sprinkles of it, but this is where you really saw everything kind of come together. So yeah, now I'm really excited every week to see what they come out with.
Yeah. To your point, that was a criticism of the graphic novel, that Silk Spectre didn't get the character development that she deserved. And they felt like they spent a lot. I mean, it's been said that they spent a lot more time on the guys.
Yeah.
And then, of course, her, not her superpower, but her appeal was the sex appeal.
Yeah.
And then her mom had the same thing going on with her, too. So, but yeah, the one thing I'm going to step away from the episode for a second. I actually listened to the official HBO podcast.
Yeah. And I've been wanting to hear that.
Those of you that, please listen to this podcast, but also listen to that one. Like it's a good podcast. When you mentioned Damon Lindelof, I like his work. I was a little disappointed at Lost when he got to the end.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that hurt,
Yeah.
But I have, and I haven't seen The Leftovers. I want to see The Leftovers. I heard it's
So
excellent.
that's actually one thing
Right.
that I failed to mention in the beginning is I loved The Leftovers. It was 3 seasons long. It is a really weird show.
Right.
Really just strange things happening that are very Damon Lindelof in style. When I say weird, think like the first episode of Lost.
Right.
Towards the end, there's a polar bear on the
Right.
island. You're thinking, what? Like,
Yeah,
where did this come from? And that's kind of a recurring
Middle of
theme
the
in his work.
Pacific, like what's going
So
on?
the Leftovers has this big sort of sci-fi element,
Right.
and it's never fully explained. But the way they shoot the show, like it's okay because it's more
Right.
about the character development. And so, taking the momentum off of that,
Right.
and taking just sort of the weirdness that he has with his storytelling, and I mean weirdness as a compliment,
Right.
and injecting it into the Watchmen world was
Right.
just like the perfect pairing. So
Right. The reason I'm bringing up the podcast, I have a brand new respect for Lindelof.
Yeah.
He talked about his motivation for doing The Watchmen. He didn't want to do it. He was approached 3
really?
times by HBO to do it. And I'm gonna get to my point.
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing a long-winded answer
That's
to
how we
your.
do.
Yeah. So, he was approached by HBO 3 different times. He was like, I don't want to do it. Like first time, I don't want to do it second time. Like, it shouldn't be done. Like,
Don't
I
mess
don't.
with the
Yeah,
classic.
don't mess with the classic. Like, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to sequelize the classic. And then around the third time, there was a string of events that happened in our country. Charlottesville.
got it.
He said while he was working on The Leftovers, he shared, and I appreciated him for sharing that because it's going to maybe spark off our discussion here. He mentioned, he had his white liberal Hollywood friends
Yeah.
say, "Hey, have you read that Ta-Nehisi Coates, book? The Between the World and Me." He's like, "No, I haven't read it."
Enlighten people on who Ta-Nehisi Coates is.
Yeah,
in
so
case the
Ta-Nehisi
listeners don't
Coates
know.
is just African American writer, and he speaks and he writes. He's a writer, so he writes these just superb essays on race in America, life in America. He's written articles in the Atlantic. He's written comic books. He's currently on a run of
Captain America.
of Captain America.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting read.
in today's in
today's
today's
America.
America.
Yeah, I suggest you read that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I will definitely
And
look
then
into
he's
that.
also he's still writing on Black Panther.
Yep.
So around that time, he wrote this book. Lindelof read the book, and he brought up the Tulsa riot. That's in the show. September
Okay,
18th.
so that's all right.
Right.
All right.
September 18th. That's when Charlottesville happened. And he was also like,
Wow.
a lot of his friends were like, he talked to people of color. He was so moved by Ta-Nehisi Coates' writing
Yeah.
that was swirling in his head while he was trying to decide, should I do The Watchmen? And it's like, we are living in a time that seems really surreal. Mm-hmm. Now, for people of color, it's not necessarily surreal. I don't want to say we were expecting it, but, with the current climate, it was like, well, this could happen.
Sure.
Yeah, we have we're playing with a loaded gun here, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Wow.
so anyway, I said all that to say that he got a lot of inspiration from that to even do Watchmen. So the one thing that he brought up was when he started talking to people of color, they said, well, hey, we're just shocked. In Charlottesville, the guys are not even wearing masks. And masks play a theme in The
Heavy
Watchmen.
theme,
Yeah, a heavy theme that we'll touch on too. But the one thing that he said, to get to my point, he said when he talked to his white friends about it and said, hey, did you hear about the Tulsa riot? No, I didn't know about it.
No.
As he went into detail about what happened during those riots, they start to get embarrassed. Well, there's embarrassment.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of it's a personalization. Sure. And he said at that moment, what he said, I'm not saying this, what he said was his white friends start to disconnect because it's something they didn't know. And when you get that feeling of something you don't know
Yeah.
that you should have been told about, you start to just disconnect and say, well, what am I do with it? You know,
Sure.
like,
Yeah, because you don't know what to do with it. It's-
yeah.
you're trying to
And I
process
thought
it.
that was,
Wow, I might have to listen to this on the way home.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah,
it's heavy.
yeah. And I appreciate him saying that because, and I appreciate you guys being here because you're clearly showing that you're not disconnecting. And in order to have dialogue about this show and some of the themes that are being expressed in this show, like, we all shouldn't disconnect.
Yep.
And I'm talking people of color as well. Like,
Right.
people of color disconnect in different ways.
Yeah.
And through maybe anger or whatever. And so anyway, I have a deeper appreciation for him being open, transparent, and honest. And I'm really excited about what he's bringing to the show.
Absolutely.
And then it's not all him. He also has like a diverse. He has a diverse cast of writers and directors, and women directors and things like that. And he's worked with Regina King, and she knows what's going on. She's actually called out the guys that are saying all this crazy stuff about the graphic novel. And it's like, she asked a simple question:
Yeah.
Are you fans
Right.
of the graphic novel?
Right.
Like, have you read the graphic novel? This is not a whiz bang
Yeah,
comic
yeah.
book,
Right,
you know.
right.
So anyway, long-winded answer. I love the episode. I like that. To get back into the show, I like that they focused on Lori Blake. There's a lot of character development that is not said based on your knowledge of what she went through in the graphic novel. So,
Indeed.
and we'll get more into this, but of course she's acting the way she acts. She was a hero, and there was a hero that made a decision for the rest of the team that this is how we're going to save the world.
Yeah.
And we killed 3 million people. So when she starts getting into her joke bag about, going to God and saying, what have you done? You're a hero. What have you done? There's some weight to it.
Yeah.
And you feel the weight from her, even though she's telling a joke.
Yeah,
It's
through
really
tears.
serious.
Yeah.
It's depressing and serious. Like, if I was a hero and I went through that, why would I be a hero anymore after that?
Yeah.
So it's what I love about this episode. It paints the picture of what happened directly after the novel. Like,
Right. Psychological.
after they left Ozymandias, it's like, how did they fight crime again?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
It's not
like,
roses
we
and
didn't
happy
feel
endings.
right
at all.
It's
knowing that
real
you
world.
you slaughtered
Yeah.
3 million people, and we got to keep this secret.
We got
by
to
the
keep it
way.
going. Right.
Right.
Just-
So
yeah.
2 people alive, no.
Right. Right.
Well,
Yeah, she's
3.
trying to
Yeah.
talk to
One's-
one of them.
One's in federal custody. Is that right? Did I
Federal
catch that right?
custody. We
What-
don't know where
what's
Oz
federal
is.
custody? Night Owl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Daniel.
Who knows it
Yeah.
still? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see. And okay, you mentioned the ability to have open dialogue, which is tough, because in order to have that, you got to pretty much have sensible human beings engaged, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you got to have people willing to have it and unafraid to have it, and you have to be able to have one in an amicable in a way that's amicable.
And not to cut you off, also you have to have people that are open. And here's the thing: Watchmen criticizes systems.
That's
systems
correct.
being government.
Van mentioned that on the last
politi-
podcast.
Yeah, that's what Van
Yeah.
mentioned.
Personalizing
When it's
it,
pressing
when you
that
get in
button
trouble.
and it's challenging systems, you have to break that down. Like, I'm a proud Christian, but there's times where I have to question religion. There's a lot of rhetoric that comes out of the religious community where I'm like, no, I need to revisit my value system as it relates to this particular subject or this subject.
Because people can distort whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
and
I
if
mean,
you're
you can-
not open to challenge that, and you're like, well, no, this is the way.
Yeah.
The Bible says this, or the government says this, or
and then all that
Clinton
can
or
be
Trump or said
misinterpreted,
this.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And if you're not open, you're not willing to listen to anybody, and that's what we have right now in our world. People are not willing to go, okay, I want to hear what you're saying. I want to feel what you're feeling. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
me and my coworkers have been working in data for a long time, and we all know that you can make data say anything you want to say. And so,
Indeed, you can.
Very true.
you know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful about the interpretation of it. That being said, and one of the reasons we brought you guys here is because we wanted to get your feelings on it. Like, as we mentioned before, there are many that have a problem with the nature and the painting of white people in this show. It looks almost as if the majority of them are all Klansmen for the most part, and white supremacy is at the forefront of it. I mean, there's no way to get around that. And again, detractors of this show have pointed that out. And so I was just interested in what were your feelings upon seeing that, because there were so many that had a problem with it. There was an article about how many 200,000 had dropped as far as viewership was concerned,
right?
Because they didn't want to see the political, and they didn't want to see that and this that, but they never really pointed at what part of the political issue that they had a problem with. When on the surface, you know what it was. And I've said it a million times, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Nobody hates mirrors more than somebody that's ugly. Yep. And so when you hold it in front of them, they're going to have a tendency to shy away. So,
and also, it's off of one episode. They haven't
one
seen
episode. I mean,
the complete season to make a judgment.
That's what I'm saying, because we don't even know. HBO is very good at misdirection, and the person you thought may have been the antagonist may very well not be. So you got to give it a chance. But my thoughts to either one of you who wanted to field it, well, how did you feel about it, and what do you think about those who say this isn't my Watchmen, but it really kind of is? If you really think about it, there's just a new element introduced into it to better represent what's going on today.
I'll take this first. Going back through recently, having reread it, one thing that I was struck by, there are only 3 to 4 African Americans in the original series altogether.
Right.
One kid sitting reading a comic book. That's how you get the Black Freighter. And then our psychiatrist and his wife, who have falling out due to having to deal with Rorschach as
correct
psychoanalyzing.
Right.
And that's it. Mm-hmm. Which, you're in New York City in 1985. You might have missed some layers.
Right.
The amount of knee jerking that people are seeing. I want to know how much they're even looking around today, because nothing really stood out as shocking or strange about how people were acting. If you take kind of the premise and put it forward, mm-hmm. everything flowed. Right. The writing team got us to a place that seems completely believable in this world, and if you just hoped that Ozymandias fixed everything and he killed evil, evil's done. Turns out all it needed was one big thing to shock hatred out of the souls of men. You're telling yourself a lie.
It's kind of like 9/11, right? Like that was kind of a little.
Oh, and we fixed ourselves.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There
Everybody
it was.
Came together for a hot second.
Yeah,
and then everything that was plaguing the country and the world, for that matter, is still, a plague. There's been no panacea for that.
No dialogue that happened.
That's right. Just never forget it.
Telethons.
And they keep it moving.
Right.
Jason, what about you, man?
So I think it'd be helpful if I give a little bit of context on what it was like growing up for me and the kind of environments that I was in. I was very fortunate to have a very open-minded mother and father who both were from Tennessee but met in Arizona. Very supportive of travel and learning about new cultures and individuals. And however, my father was in the Park Service, and typically within the Park Service, not quite as much as if you're in the military, but when you're moving up or taking on a new job, it means moving to a new park. So every couple of years we moved, and a lot of the jobs that he took were in very rural parts of the states. And so I spent time growing up in rural West Virginia, rural Kentucky, rural Tennessee. And
nothing black there.
And it was, when you're younger and you just you have your friends and you're just sort of playing, you don't think a lot about that. It's more of hindsight and just more processing, what were some of the things that I witnessed or that I experienced growing up. And there was a lot of racism around me in those environments. And before I talk about what that was, I do want to say there are some just great people that I've kept in touch with. This is not a hillbillies in West Virginia or
It's
not a generalization.
It's
there's some kind-hearted people who are open-minded, who I looked up to in each of those areas. But let's be honest, some of the most concentrated areas of sort of racial problems in the country are in some of the areas near or in where I lived. And I could give out multiple examples, but the one that sticks to mind the most for me was when I was just in high school, freshman or sophomore year. So this would have been around 2000. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. 96, 97 maybe. I grew up in Crossville, Tennessee from 6th grade on and through high school. And there were two, I think. There was one black student in school. Mm-hmm. He was blind and he was a wrestler.
Wow.
It was amazing. And he was very talented and generally he wasn't sort of bullied or bothered. But there were definitely a lot of sort of racial undertones, at the time when any black families, any Hispanic families would move into town. There was a Ryan's restaurant that had opened up in town, and it was a big deal because there just wasn't a lot there. I mean, we had a Walmart and a couple of things. And so with Ryan's, they put out a lot of job applications, and my mother actually applied, and I think it was. I forget what the role was for her. But when they have these programs, they actually fly in staff, and the staff train the individuals for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. A lot of the staff were black. Mm-hmm. And so my mom's going through the program. Well, she comes home one night with this look on her face, like, of concern. And I asked her what had happened, and come to find out, as some of the trainers were leaving, who were staying in some of the local hotels near the interstate, some guys pulled up in a white truck, or some white guys pulled up in a truck and said, "Man, you need to leave tonight, or you're not going to leave this town." Jeez. Now this is in the late 90s. Crazy, yeah. I will say now, again, the town has become extremely diverse. So again, not overgeneralizing on that. I'm talking about specific examples of extreme racism in the late 90s. And so I would see incidents of that just kind of growing up. I know Willis had, growing up in similar kind of environments. So I'm sure he'll mention some of that. And so for me, I learned more to, the scene from like Batman versus Superman where Bruce Wayne's like running towards the carnage and everybody else is running away. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, like when it's conversations about that, or some people get awkward and they're like, "Oh nope, I'm out." Right. I like to just kind of run right towards it, but in a kind of professional way. And we've talked about a lot of that at work.
Man, thank you for doing that.
And so that's
a little more than
we all should do that.
Yeah. So that's kind of a long-winded background, but to give context for this answer, so. The whole like mirror to society today and reflecting what's going on in society. I love that aspect of it. And the way I look at it is for certain individuals, especially those who might be triggered by some of the things that they see in this show, it's like one of those concave, is it concave or convex? Concave mirrors. Like my mom didn't have what my aunt did, where you look at it and it really magnifies. And it's like for certain individuals, it really magnifies that. And it's showing, is this sort of an amplification of maybe your own thoughts? But there's also what I love about the Watchmen novel and the series is that it spins everything. It kind of flips the table. And I'm going to give a perfect example here where there are, a lot of individuals are claiming this is propaganda, against people with maybe conservative values. But there are some things that happen in the novels that very much I would say kind of support or strengthen the argument of conservative values. Let's talk about the first episode when you got a president who's been a liberal for 30 years and how extreme gun control laws are to where one could argue that officer died because of how strict the laws were and he couldn't discharge his arm in time.
Is he still living? He's still
living. That's right.
But he got hurt.
But he got hurt badly because the good guy couldn't get his gun out. And that's the argument that the right always makes. Is like the good guys need to have these guns in the event of, any
Right.
conflict.
And as much as the other big example, again, there's numerous ones. The other one that's really stuck out to me is, as much as you dislike everything about what the 7th Cavalry sort of represents, some of the conspiracy theories that they have are actually true.
Right.
And this example that comes to mind is a billionaire philanthropist funded a false flag attack
Absolutely.
to cause everyone to have a quick reaction to it. I mean, that happened, and so they're saying this happened.
That's the fallout.
Right,
from that.
right. And so,
Right.
and you also, in reading some of these supplemental articles that have come out,
Yes, amazing.
the articles are mentioning about those on the left who are aligned with communism in Russia.
Right.
And they're giving examples of that. So it's I feel like whether you're extremely from sort of a progressive or a conservative mindset, if you try to jump to the extreme and say this is propaganda one way or another, you're choosing not to look at the shades of gray that are there, because there's blatant hypocrisies all over the place, and that's the beauty of this, is you got to have that open mind to see that.
Right. Right. And what Van brought up in the last episode was the absence of due process.
Right.
Like
Right.
when Laurie enters his town, she's like,
Yeah, I'm taking this over.
Yeah.
well, also she's calling out like when you really look at the scene, she's walking up. They're in an abandoned warehouse.
Yeah.
Like and have like corralled all the people
Yeah.
they've taken from Nixonville,
Yeah.
and they're interrogating them.
Right.
And she's
with no
It's all
rights.
good.
no
No problem.
yeah,
no rights,
away
Fred.
from the
Excuse
public.
me, I just need to find who I'm looking
Yeah,
for. To
there's
talk
no like court. There's no. It's you just got Looking Glass,
Right.
You know, which is you
Yeah.
know, that's going to be interesting. I'm
got
curious when they dive into his character. It's going to be really interesting to see that character development.
to. Absolutely.
But you're absolutely right. Like the hypocrisy all over the place, and like in the graphic novel, the question that was asked was, who watches the Watchmen? Who watches the heroes
Right.
that have the power? Like the story here is like, well, who's watching?
Yeah.
Like, I guess it needs to be defined who the Watchmen are, and you would assume it would be the cops, Sister Night, Pirate Jenny,
Sure.
Red Scare, Looking Glass.
Yeah, I think the quote that you often hear about the original graphic novels is it's a deconstruction of the superhero genre.
Right.
I feel like that's the superficial answer.
Right.
The deeper answer is the novels and the show are a deconstruction of our systems and society sort of norms.
Correct.
And really peeling that layer back. And it is complex, and it's
Right.
and you have to think deep on it. And sometimes there's not an easy answer. And then I feel like we're going to continue
Right.
to get. Can I just say on that scene, the with the warehouse,
Yeah.
Sister Night and Looking Glass, how he goes totally submissive once she puts him in his place, and just basically is like he completely. You think he's this sort of he's going to stand firm,
Yeah.
and he's going to go toe to toe with her, and he just kind of sits down and slumps
Yeah.
over, takes his mask off, admits that Angela is Sister Night. Anyway, that was
Yeah.
that was a brilliant sort of misdirection on how I thought that would go.
Right.
Yep. And that's that's what HBO does. Like I mentioned it, right? Misdirection. That's what they do. They want you to think one thing. Like I said, I always refer to sleight of hand as a tactic that they use. Like they kind of want you to feel like this is what you think is right, and then sometimes as early as next episode, it'll be something completely different. You mentioned the articles, the supplementary articles that and we have done a disservice.
Yes.
To
Peter
the podcast
Pedia.
by not
Yes.
highlighting
Projector
this in
PD.
the previous episodes of this podcast, and come to find out that the accompanying party with Silk Spectre, as it were, is this guy, right? When they go to Tulsa, and he seems very unassuming and kind of a milquetoast kind of guy, but he kind of lets her know that no,
Yeah, you ain't gonna step
I'm not
over
that
me.
dude.
Right.
No, I'm not a fan. I'm a historian, and I got a doctorate. Thank you very much. So you're not
I'm
gonna
about-
talk to me like that.
Yes.
So I immediately liked his character right away,
Yes.
and especially learning that he is the guy that's focused on in these particular articles, and he has some very strong
Right.
opinions about a lot of things.
So our lovely audience out there, just type PTpedia
PETEY
in Google and
they release new content every episode.
Right.
And it fills in a ton of blanks that I quite honestly had in my mind until I was like, oh my gosh,
Right.
now I have to go out and check figure out
Lengthy content too. You need a good 20 plus minutes. This is not a
this is not a
2-minute
quick
Instagram
read.
video. This
Like,
is
I particularly enjoyed the White Flight to Mars. That was like my
Yeah.
favorite one.
Right.
Like it was.
Well, let me explain this. So, in reading The Watchmen, it's funny. When I was a teenager, I had to put it down because I didn't understand like what was going on. But you can jump into the story, and then what you get blessed with the graphic novel. This is a different medium because it's TV. So they have, you can go on the internet and
Right.
get this
Exactly.
this bonus content. In the graphic novel, they would have these excerpts in each issue, and if somebody referenced like there's two officers talking about, oh, this happened because of the Keene Act, and you're like, what's the Keene Act? And then they don't even mention it again,
Right.
And then you'll
go
get that
find out.
excerpt at the end of the book going, the Keene Act was this,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, blah.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
so you would get that Encyclopedia
Yep.
Britannica entry or a FBI file or a dossier on a hero that was mentioned, and then let alone the Black Freighter, which was a story within
Yeah.
a story that was an allegory because we lived in a world where superheroes existed, so they wouldn't read comic books. Well, their comic books would be pirate stories.
Yeah.
So that was just a world within a world. Like, okay, let's really build this world out. You're not just reading a comic. You're experiencing the whole universe, and that's what makes this book so great.
That's what makes it great over time, looking back
Exactly.
too, because that's one of the pieces younger. Because I was born in '82,
Right.
Hence, I love the name of the podcast. But reading, it, I'm like, this is dumb. Why is this side story in here? And I skipped through it, and it
Right.
wasn't until after I watched the movie in 2009, I went back and read it, and I thought, oh,
It was
get it
Easter
now.
eggs. It's funny. It's Easter eggs before Easter eggs existed.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
so genius about it.
Yeah.
Like Easter eggs didn't really pop up till like I know Lost did it, and then there was some shows. Alias. J.J. Abrams started
Oh,
doing
okay,
it when
okay.
J.J. Abrams started like really
Yeah.
rising to stardom as a director, producer, writer. He would put little Easter eggs in his shows, and the internet would pay
and
homage
pick 'em
to
up?
it. Yeah, they would eat them up and like write all these essays on why this Easter egg was in the show, and that's what they're doing now. But yeah,
I think the PDpedia is fantastic, giving homage to what was done with the
Right.
comic books. And I'm thinking once we're done with this series and being able to rewatch it with all of that there, they're probably going to have Easter eggs feeding back in on themselves again.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite parts about the show is the PDpedia stuff, because one in particular that I thought was genius, and we're going back to Dale Petey, the projector guy.
Projector PD. That's what I call
Projector
him.
Petey. One of the arguments was, I want to be entertained. I don't want politics in my superhero stuff. That was like one of the biggest arguments. Matter of fact, we had those arguments take place on the Established 1982 podcast Facebook group page. Just a long, drawn out debate. But that was one of the points made.
right.
The genius of the PDpedia memo is that he literally says the same thing in it, as if to troll those who they knew were going to say that. Because this stuff was written before the shows came out. They released this stuff as it comes out. I mean, he even says, like, I got it here. I don't want to mess it up. But he says, but he's talking about American Hero Story. There's a parallel. So he says, American Hero Story, Minutemen relies on sensationalistic fabrications that are more interested in advancing a political agenda than educating or entertaining an audience. The very same
Yep.
thing that people have a problem with Watchmen about. is what he's talking about. So that blew my mind because I didn't think about that part, right? I didn't think, because that's what they do. They do these shows within the show, and it's like you said, the side story, right? Like this is kind of like Black Freighter here, this American hero story. So there's this parallel, and so I just thought that was genius. It's like they knew. I already know. It's almost as if you're familiar with 8 Mile. A semi-biographical,
Fantastic movie.
Semi-biographical story of the career of Eminem, and so he's a guy, and he's a white guy, and he's in a particular area of expertise where not many of them succeed, or compete very well, and so
arena. Yep.
yes, and so he knew that in doing battle, at the end of the movie, that he would have to flip the script in such a way, so he would have to preemptively say everything that the other person
Steal
would
the ammo.
Exactly.
Steal the ammo.
This is what has happened here. It's like they said, I already know what you're going to say.
Right.
You're going to say this, and this about this show. And that's how we know we're on the right trajectory. We're going in the right direction. It was genius. So
Yeah.
read all the PDpedia. Take time out.
But do you think it's intentional, or do you just think it's just a byproduct of our society is just jacked?
Well,
yeah, we're gonna have people that do that.
But see but that's just it. They
Right.
know that,
Right.
And he's talking about a show.
I mean, but I'm talking about like when the graphic novel came out, they were doing some of the same
Right.
stuff.
Right, they just kinda know.
society's jacked,
Right.
And
Which is even more genius because
Right.
nothing's changed in God knows how many years now.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
And for you to say that this isn't my Watchmen, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right.
See?
Yes, it is.
So it's just like
Right.
you have no leg to stand on.
Yeah, saying that you don't want politics in your superhero comics, and you're talking about Watchmen's like saying you don't like water on a vacation and you're going to the beach.
Right.
Like,
I don't like sand
Right.
on my beach.
it's kind of a byproduct of.
Yeah,
of-
it's like, it is
there's
what it
there's plenty
is.
of other options. If
Yeah.
you want just gratuitous, action, there's plenty of other things to choose from.
Right.
Watchmen's not the cup of tea you need to be going after.
Right.
That.
Or we have another gentleman on our podcast. One episode, he was like, there's like 100 years of entertainment that you can watch. You don't have to watch this show.
Yeah.
Like you can watch Superman 1 or 2.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of that. I mean,
shows, movies or shows devoid of diversity. There's plenty of them. Like you
Right.
take a
pick, yeah.
Yeah, you
Plan
got a whole
it.
library. You
Yeah.
can go back.
Huge.
It was made for you for the most part.
Right.
For the
pretty
longest
much.
amount of time.
I mean, yeah. That's the reality.
Yeah. We have mentioned that one scene.
That's fine.
I was going to say, what's with the elephant in the room, the awkwardness that we run. But which scene?
Well, no, we haven't talked about any scene at all.
You talking about the blue glow? Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
It's also referenced in the title. She was killed by space junk.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, that. Man,
Yeah.
you just blew my mind right there.
Right.
My mind has been blown.
Can we? Okay. So can we jump into like? Can we? No pun intended. Can we jump into the like maybe the bank robbery? Like maybe.
Okay. Brilliant.
Genius.
Yes.
Brilliant. So
Yeah, see how I.
Thank you for
Good
that
transition.
redirect.
Good transition.
Right.
From jump.
I never thought about
Me
it. Like
either.
that.
Me either.
I,
See,
I have
and
to
that
give
is-
credit where credit is due.
That is
Joelle Monique,
okay.
she's doing the
I would
AV
have
clubs.
taken that credit. If I were
She
you.
does the AV clubs write-ups, and
That
she's got some great insights.
I thought it was just the car.
The car.
coming from outer space,
That's correct.
which we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Man, we didn't talk about the car, but where
But
were
we set up
What did we
Lori.
say?
Yeah.
What? Oh, Lori.
Yes.
DC, right? She's sitting in the the very first thing is that she's walking in the bank but they're doing this all while she's on the phone telling this joke, right? She's narrating while walking into the bank, right?
Yeah, so they're playing with time.
Yeah, they're
she
playing
was
with time.
already.
Yeah, she
in
had already
Tulsa.
done
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but yeah, she's like,
Which is brilliant, by the way.
yeah,
I like that kind of storytelling.
So they have a very a rather unique way of trying to determine who's out here in these streets running around with the masks on. I legit thought she was a bank robber. Yeah, I did.
I didn't.
Really? I did.
I was just like, this is odd. This is really
everything's
odd.
odd.
Yeah.
We got Squid Rain. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, I'll co-sign on this robbery. And she must be dope.
Right.
To just walk up and, I didn't know. Who knows what she could do? But it looked legit. And then all of a sudden, he was like, here comes, what was the guy's name? Shadow Dude or whatever his name was?
Well, they said,
they thought it was, but she said,
Yeah.
no, we got him last week. This is
the Shadow.
Shadow.
Yeah, the Shadow.
Anyway, he jumped in there on his Batman, broad daylight, and was like, no, we're not going to rob here. We're not. He was like, yeah, you're right.
I got to look up the actor. I don't know the actor's name, but he's familiar. He's been in stuff. But I was like, that's that guy under the mask.
Oh,
but
okay.
nobody paid attention to it because he was wearing a mask.
Right.
But he's like a legit actor.
Stage bank robber to catch those who would come and save the day, which is against the law, according to the Keene Act. You can't do that. Mass vigilantism is not allowed, and so that's how they do. That's how they put
the anti-vigilante task force.
Yes.
That's what she heads up.
Right. So that's what they do,
which is character development because it's like, but you were part of the Watchmen.
Just right, but a part that clearly she wants to leave behind.
Right.
Because in her mind, it was just taking over the family business. Right?
Yeah.
Like she wasn't I can't remember, and you have to refresh my memory because I'm more familiar with the movie than the book. So I don't know if there was really a desire to be Silk Spectre
There
more
was
than
not.
it was here, family business.
It was more of she was resentful
That's what I
often
thought.
for being forced into it. Her mom was training her to be the replacement as soon
Silk
as
Spectre
Right.
too,
Yeah.
pretty
Yes.
much.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's easy for her to not even want. She didn't want to do it in the first place.
She saw what it got everybody in New York in the end.
Exactly. So now there's two reasons. Like I didn't want to do it in the first place, and now this is what happened as a result.
You also have to remember too her relationship with Dr. Manhattan, his view on humanity.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah, I don't
and
care about
she
him.
got a front row seat to that. Like,
Right, like-
but I don't
care.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I'm
She's
dope.
very, very, very like nihilist of just
Right.
like nothing matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect that you mentioned nihilist. In the Peteypedia, they talk about all the previous heroes at some
Oh,
point in
that's right,
time,
profiles.
and the
Yeah,
comedian. One of the profiles is he's a something/nihilist.
Yeah, there's different archetypes. Yeah,
Who is her father as well, and she has totally bought into, like, it feels like she stepped up to almost be comedian part 2.
Right.
Right.
She's
It's like fully embraced
yeah
the personality.
well,
of
and
it.
embraced his last name. She
Yeah.
was not going by Blake at the
Right.
Of course,
end of-
she embraces that. Was it the line from Rorschach? Wasn't that his line in the book from his journal? The cue curtains, snare drums, like towards the end, or am I confusing that with another piece?
I think so.
I think that's like a callback to something that he wrote.
Right.
Might need to verify that,
okay.
but how she just sort of meshed together a lot of
Right.
from her previous life.
And then the funny thing about the comedian, like in the graphic novel, he was despicable as he was telling the truth the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying like, "Hey,
life sucks. This is a
yeah.
terrible.
yeah, there's people that already made a decision. We ain't gonna. Yeah, this
Truth
whole
is not
vigilante
always
act is not
deserved
gonna go.
in-
Yeah.
truth is not always.
So I'm
deserved on a
gonna just
clean
do
plate.
me till this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth, like I said, it's not always served in a nice shiny container. Sometimes,
Right.
the picture is not, it's dented and
Right.
needs painting, but the water inside is good for your health.
Right.
It's medicine. So,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, I guess in our society, we are concerned about the vessel more so than what the vessel is distributing to the people. You see what I'm saying? So that's problematic, and we have a problem looking past that, I think, which is interesting. Like you said, the comedian, even though he was in some instances, he was just deplorable, dude. That dude was
Right.
terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he was terrible, but
Right.
he was telling the truth. Ozymandias would be like, yeah, and he's the smartest man in the world, and he was like,
Even when
you might have a point.
when he shoots the girlfriend in Vietnam, and he tells Dr. Manhattan, "You could have stopped
Yeah, you
me
could have stopped
at
me, but
any
you-
point, but you didn't."
He'd be a good supporting cast member for the boys.
And he said, if you were like this, you didn't stop me. God help us all,
Right,
because
right.
you had the power to do it and you didn't.
Right.
Which is it's a mind flip because
Yeah.
he's doing the deplorable act, but he's pointing at the person that has the power to stop it.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah. And there's so many ways you can take that. That has layers to it too,
buddy. Yeah,
you know,
we
like
don't
God
have
and
time
free
for you.
will
Right,
and all
exactly.
that stuff. You know?
Yep.
So, yeah,
Way too heavy.
yes, we won't tackle
Way
that
too
today.
heavy. Yeah. So yeah, they catch the guy and so like Willis was saying, it ended up later that she's heading to Tulsa and all of that, because that happened that was in D.C. right? That
I think so,
background
somewhere.
there.
Yeah,
They
And
had
the
the
briefing at the the police station or whatever about
Foggy Bottom?
FBI. Yeah, about okay, this is what we're gonna do, and it's crazy in Tulsa, and let's get there. And
let me ask you guys. The guy that was maybe the FBI director.
Yeah.
Did he seem very sarcastic to you? Like, I can care less. Like, if it seemed like he would side with the cavalry, but then he was like, "Oh well, we need to check this out because somebody got hanged again."
Yeah,
you know, like it was very
yeah.
I didn't know how to take him.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to receive him.
I felt
probably
that way.
figure
Yeah,
out
yeah.
later.
I feel like there's
Yeah.
more to that.
Right.
More to that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even like when PD shows, he's like, "Put this Rorschach journal in here." Like,
Right. I
why-
don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Yeah.
Which and Petey thinks it's relevant.
Correct.
And because based on this guy's a historian and goes without saying he's probably done his due diligence as research is concerned.
Which is interesting because, like, for me, I look at the 7th Cavalry and go, I want to assign the bad guy thing to them, but I haven't yet. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to go. They are terrible. Like now,
they've only shot one guy that we know.
He shot a cop.
Yeah.
But the play on race was interesting too. It plays off of that.
Yes.
I already have that trauma or inherent bias because of the world I'm living in the real world.
Exactly. And you can't compartmentalize.
Right. But everything that I'm seeing from Sister Night, even though it's dope and she's driving a Grand National and kicking people's butt and stuff.
No, they're right. It's wrong.
This is wrong.
Yeah, you just ran up in Nixonville, and you know what I'm saying? You can't do this. These people, the people in Nixonville don't look like they're doing anything wrong except loving on Nixon. I mean, and that's not really a crime. They're not really doing anything.
And the supplementary files, you find out there are multiple Nixonvilles
all over this.
They just call them a Nixonville. So that's not the. I thought, was that the name of an actual township?
Yeah, that's just.
But
what
apparently
they call
that's what
all these little sections of supporters.
Just the world
of
building.
Previous,
And I guess they idolize him too.
Yeah.
He's on like the Rushmore or something like that, right? Didn't they show?
They said they put him on Rushmore. Yeah,
if
it's
like
the
you
5th
look
head.
They just added them.
Right.
So it's just it's crazy.
And that's what I love about this episode, that they paint that picture where it's like, okay,
this is wrong.
You're not getting the perspective of Angela Abar. You're getting the perspective of Lori, and it's kind of like, no, something's not right here. In her investigation of it,
And
so
it's
anyway,
and it's all conched in this bigger political conversation of Tulsa is an experiment by the first possible Republican contender for the presidency in 20 years, Mr. Keene. And he's hoping that this masking of police goes well. And we don't really know, based on kind of what we saw later in the episode, if he's maybe trying to help stir up some of the animus that's going on between people or not.
Is it its own sort of false flag? Because again, kind of both directions based on the history.
And I thought that too. Because at the funeral, I thought that whole funeral thing seemed off to me. Like okay, there's a hole in the ground, and the dude, somebody knew about this hole in the ground where the guy came up through and just easily just rolled up, and Keene just happened to be there, and
he gave in quickly. He said,
something is wrong, and then my man got blown up in the casket. Like, what are we doing? It's like I don't know.
The fact that Keene goes to Lori alone says volumes. And he did some kind of like non-verbal kind of like nod to her at the funeral. Kind of like, well, okay. I don't know if it was after she shot the guy.
I think it was after, which was dope,
Right.
by the way, on some extra
very nice.
gangster marksmanship kind of. It's crazy, but
Right, but even though she gave the explanation, there was still some like suspicion. Like, okay,
that whole thing was open ended for me.
unless she's just like a loose cannon. Like, yeah, if he was telling the truth, oh well,
it didn't matter.
Like,
but
right.
it speaks to what you were
Right.
saying. What Van even mentioned. It's like just it's law, but lawless at the same time. They just do whatever.
Right.
You know, I'll shoot here. You know, and it's like this. Like you said, no due process, no
Right.
nothing, no process. We ain't reading rights. We ain't do none of that.
Well,
we just
so okay. So the bomber is trying to bomb Senator King and
Right.
and the people that are at this funeral for
Right.
good reason because everybody's gathered here.
right.
And then he gets shot. Nothing blows. Well, sorry.
Yeah, it does.
It blows up. But
Legit bomb.
Angela takes him, throws him in the
In
grave,
the grave,
and then
covers him up
manages
with it. That's what I'm saying.
and then manages to push Judd's casket
into-
over him to shield the blast.
Right,
Let's talk about that conversation they had in.
man.
Yeah, that was heavy.
Right,
because it flipped everything because it was like, I actually see Lori's point. It's like, hey, I was planning to exhume the body to do a thorough
Yeah,
investigation,
but
you
and
just
you
kinda- yeah.
destroyed the evidence.
Right. And she still kind of didn't care because she was trying to intimidate her.
Right.
You know, with you know, what was that line she said? What was that line at the end? Oh, what was that? Oh, what was that thing she said at the end? That she said something to try to like scare
Right.
Angela, and she
And-
was
and
just
Angela's
like,
like,
"Oh."
Which I love
Oh,
the juxtaposition
I'm not scared.
between. She did that with Looking Glass, and
Right.
Looking Glass went completely submissive.
Right.
And then she's had a similar comment towards Sister Night, and you think, oh, Sister
gonna
Night had to
work.
carry down, and Sister Night is like, ooh.
Ooh, you
And,
scared
I'm like,
me.
oh, she just
And
literally
it
stood
poured
toe to toe.
coffee.
Yeah.
I don't care about
Right.
what you talking about.
Yeah, I love the way they did that because it's like the whole thing like, with Looking Glass. I love this character and how what he's gonna evolve to. But your preconceived notions of what you think he is going into this show, like this sort of astute gentleman that has a
Yeah.
British accent, like you mentioned on the
Right.
like what you think
Right.
and what is really happening. Totally,
But he
totally
sounds
yeah.
like he could live in Nixonville.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just from listening to him talk, but he's not that dude. At
Right.
least as far as we know.
Did anybody else get just kind of rip the Band-Aid off on
Go ahead.
the warehouse scene? I got some as we're just talking politics today. I kind of got some vibes of like detention center sort of treatment with the detainees, and again, in a flip of kind of circumstance, that it was suspected individuals of the 7th Cavalry who weren't being given due process.
Right.
Who you could actually say, some of these guys are horrible people, but their rights are being violated,
Exactly.
and they need to actually be given some kind of due process. So again, it goes
get
back to
some.
that where you get those vibes, but it's one where, to your point, rolls on. It's you can't just cast them wholesale as the bad guys.
No.
I'll take it a step further. A sin of our country that we continue to repeat over and over and over again. We did this in World War II, where we had the Japanese internment camps.
Yeah,
We're doing it now with the immigration
Yeah.
and the stuff on the border. We're just generalizing a group of people, and
Lock 'em up.
and yes, look, there needs to be regulation to immigration. Nobody's saying let's have open borders.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make
No.
any sense.
No.
But what we're seeing, where kids are getting separated from their families, like, is that America?
yeah.
Question mark. Like, I really want to ask that. Like,
Yeah.
is it? And the silence is deafening me.
Yeah.
Like, and when when I hear people talk about this show, it's like that's the symptom of that.
Yeah.
I want to disconnect. It's not affecting me. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I'll mention this one interview I heard from Byron Allen. He talked about how he rose to fame and he started making money. And he said he was driving in his nice car in L.A. and his daughters were pointing out, "Hey, there's a homeless person, Dad." I know, yeah. Hey, Dad, there's another homeless person. I know. And he said by the end, like he got a couple of blocks, and he said he stopped at the light and just started crying because he went through that. People did not pay attention to him. That, yeah, you're a black guy. Yeah,
Keep moving.
Keep it moving. He got a little bit of success, and
He fell right into it.
he just fell right. He fell into that privilege,
Yep.
and it's that like, oh well, this doesn't affect me. I'm not going to help this homeless person, or this homeless person. I'm just going to drive by him. I'm not going to help, and it's tough, because can't help everybody. But I love that he brought that story out because it talks about all of us, and that's independent of race. Like, just human beings. Like, we suck sometimes.
Oh no, we suck all the time. Just about,
Yeah,
man.
we suck
It's
all the
terrible.
time, but
it's just terrible.
But if we realize that we have those faults and we can try to be better at them, I think the world would get better. If we all, like I said, are not perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what Watchmen does. It says these heroes are not perfect. 7 Cavalry is not perfect.
The
Sister
police
Knights
are not.
the police are not perfect.
Nobody is.
Nobody is.
Yep.
I eat good guys for breakfast, is what she said. That's what.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue, and she just like, I don't care. I'm not afraid. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
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 It was
Yeah.
funny because she was looking at her like she was really getting intimidated, and then she just changed her face and was like, "Nah."
Yeah. And what is it she said? Do you know how to tell the difference between a vigilante
and a cop with a mask.
and a cop with a mask? She said, what I said, I don't.
And
Or
she said neither did I.
don't need. Yeah.
No,
Right.
then neither did I.
She has
That
some-
was an excellent.
Yeah.
That was an excellent exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when Sister
and-
Knight kind of knew this chick is on something else.
But it also it flipped the script a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't like. Do I need to root for Sister Knight? I want to.
Yeah, you want to because she's driving the.
But, I mean,
driving
the
a dope
evidence
car.
is-
She got
the
ninja
evidence is
outfit,
there. It's
the
like, okay.
ninja nun outfit on.
There's a wheelchair at the crime scene. I don't see anybody in a wheelchair in jail. Like I don't.
No, I
Yep.
took
Or-
him with me.
Yeah.
He's gone now. Where is he?
Right.
The theory is he's Dr. Manhattan.
I
I don't believe that.
I don't
one.
like that theory.
But it's crazy. But
Right.
It was funny because he told her that she was Dr. Manhattan. But of course, that's classic HBO misdirection. But
Or
would
it could be
funny.
the
It would
absolute
be
truth.
funny.
Yeah.
I know.
It could be the absolute truth. He could have been telling you the truth.
Was
the
that the
whole
same
time.
car that fell out the sky?
Yes.
Was it, that's what I couldn't tell because it was smashed. I knew she had like a crossover vehicle. It was hard to tell.
Yeah.
It hit the ground and it was. Just all-
I actually looked. I'm like, is because his name's Will, right? I was
Yeah.
like, is Will in that car right
No,
now?
no.
No, he wasn't
but
in
he
there.
was
No,
not
I was
in
like,
it.
nah,
No,
I'm
he was
good.
safe,
You
safe
drop
and
it,
sound.
whisked away.
No, he's somewhere boiling eggs and
sticking his
Yeah.
hand and drinking
hot
piping hot coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like water. So
Right. So Silk Spectre is in the building. Now and we're jumping around.
of course, that's how we always do.
Ozymandias.
Yes.
This was an open ended one right here. There was very little Sister Knight in this one, so not a lot of running up in Nixonville, snatching them out of trailer
Correct.
homes, beating them down, and
Right.
getting admissions, coercing admissions. We like those scenes. We like that, but
Yes.
this one was a different episode altogether. But the Ozymandias, we had been watching these crazy scenes, and they usually occur at the end, typically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, it seemed like, was he sprinkled in throughout? It wasn't like at the end like the other ones. What was the dude doing when he was putting the little armor on the guy and freezing him out? And
Sending him into space.
This is where
they didn't show any. Where's
he also had a trebuchet. He had a trebuchet that you saw a design of a trebuchet as it's like panning through his house.
yeah?
What's a trebuchet? I'm
The,
sorry.
the kind of catapulty thing,
Yeah.
like, in medieval days that they would use to siege castles with and
Right.
such. Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if he's shooting his clones, trying to get out of somewhere.
Yeah. And so he needs skins to create these people, these clones or whatever. Right?
I think the
Or
skins
to
is
create
for a
the
better
armor,
suit.
For the armor. That's
Yeah.
right, I'm sorry. So he hunts buffalo wherever he's at. People have been theorizing he's on Mars. I don't know what kind of buffalo they have up there. I'm not sure, but he's hunting them up there and growing tomatoes
On trees.
out.
On trees, yes. You don't grow tomatoes on trees.
No, but they do. They grow there.
And he's killing lots of clones.
Yeah. I mean, for his.
He also made a mention that the charred body is like, yeah, we're gonna need him later.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
he doesn't
Barbecue?
dispose them.
Like,
He
what
keeps them.
are we doing?
Keeps them.
I think each episode is a different time period. I think
You brought that up at work. Share with the people.
I thought I saw this, but I thought I'm going to go back and check this later. Well, then I do what I always do after a show that's multi-layered and complex. I go on Reddit, which
And
can
get
be a
further
very
confused.
divisive environment, and it's you gotta toe that line. But it's like, am I making that up, or did I really see that? And what I'm referring to, and what somebody really pointed it out, was that in the first episode, I think there was one candle on the cake, and that's when the clones staff something wasn't quite right. They had a horseshoe, I think, that they
Right.
gave him, and then in the second episode, there's 2 candles in a cake, and then I think
Episode
in the third
2.
one, when he slams it down, it's 3. So it's some type of birthday or anniversary or something. And so, what I'm curious about is, is this a separate kind of timeline building up that will sort of collide and converge? But it's showing this iterative process that, like, this is a year later every time.
Right.
Again, could be smoke and mirrors that they're pulling on us, but
And we also have to, and not to derail you, but we also have to talk about, what's her name? Lady Trey?
yeah,
Trey?
trite. I can't think of.
I can't think of the. I'm embarrassed. I got to look that
You
up.
gotta look at it. It's gonna bother him.
Who bought the
yes.
Vite
okay.
Industries? I think.
Right. She bought
yeah,
Vite
yeah.
Industries. And even Petey mentioned it.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, we think Vite is in Argentina. He got plastic surgery, and
Yeah.
which is interesting that a guy like that, like Petey, I think Petey's going to bring a lot of. He's going to be that kind of internal narrator without us knowing it. He's gonna
Exactly.
he's gonna throw some things
He can
out. where you
chronicle
just
a
go
lot
like,
of stuff.
huh.
I mean, he's with her now.
Right.
He's
Right.
getting the first hand.
Definitely
Literally
with her. Yeah.
with her in more ways than one.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
I think Jeremy Irons. Yeah,
Pete.
Hold it down.
Yeah. Petey.
Scoot over.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
I think Jeremy Irons is just having a blast in this role. Like
Yes.
watching him feel like
Right.
he's just by himself with a couple of actors. Like you just think in real life, like it just looks like he's having fun.
So, backstory on that, pointing back to the official podcast, Lindelof talked about Jeremy Irons.
Oh yeah,
And he talked about how they didn't want to. Everybody knew that he was Ozymandias,
Yeah.
and they wanted to not necessarily explain, like say, well, he's Ozymandias,
Yeah.
because he said it felt. He wanted to introduce if major characters from the graphic novel were going to be introduced in this show, it would undo a lot of things if people started theorizing right
Right.
away. So they tried to keep it
space it out some.
space
Slow
it out
play it.
and just you know call it out. But he was saying that they found out that they shot all that stuff in Wales, his scenes in Wales,
Okay,
and they shot 9 episodes of The Watchmen. So
Oh, is that it's 9?
it's 9. I thought it was 8, but
Cool.
it's 9. And they wrote 9 episodes of just him
okay,
and shot all of that in a compressed time period.
yeah,
And they did that because in Wales, in the fall, the weather gets really nasty, and they were like, "We need to.
We've got this short
we need
window.
To shoot,
Okay.
we need to shoot this before anything." So they shot all of his stuff first
Gotcha.
and together, which is interesting because they probably shot the whole thing and probably set up whatever that device you're saying, like
yeah.
the cake or whatever,
Yeah.
and that could be like markers, like at episode 1. Episode 2,
Yeah.
episode 3, episode 4. That might be for
Right,
them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like it might be for them to
Yeah.
not to give context on what he's doing while they're shooting the script, for episode 3,
Got it.
the other stuff. So that's interesting too. But even the way they shot it, it says a lot. So
Well, at least we found out that was it. Now, who's the game warden?
I don't know, that was puzzling to me.
He
It's
took,
like,
he took a shot at him.
Right. And the game warden is saying, I'm your servant.
Yeah,
You didn't catch that?
it sounds like
Yeah, he
Ozymandias
did say-
hired the game warden to watch over him and
That's it.
keep him from getting out. Is
Right.
what it feels like.
It's probably Phillips. It's probably another Phillips. Like,
But okay, that would mean these people are clones, correct?
I don't know.
Okay, well
They're not robots.
right? Well, we've seen that they're not very sharp,
Yeah.
and for that dude,
Well,
to
there's
have
levels
fashion,
up. Well, no, there's levels up because,
Yeah.
like the first Phillips, gave him the horseshoe. The second
Yeah.
Phillips seemed to be a lot smarter.
Well, okay, so the
Even
game warden
Ozymandias
has
was like-
been
yeah.
on duty for an extensive period of time, which would mean that he would be less advanced than.
Say that again. Sorry.
Okay, the game warden has been out here, right? And you're saying that first Phillips was, not very sharp at all.
Yeah.
Second Phillips was a little bit better, which would lead me to believe that the game warden was before all of them if he had been put in place to keep him in check. Well, I guess it depends on when he put him out there. I don't know.
The bigger question is, who is the game warden?
That's what I'm saying. Like, who is that dude?
It's like peak weirdness for Lindelof. Like again, Lost, like the weird stuff, the leftovers, any of his stuff, the scenes with Ozymandias. That like Lindelof is a master at just introducing that. We're like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm going to think about it all week.
Right.
Keeps you off balance too.
Yeah.
And
Way
why
off
would he
balance.
type a letter? Like, are they going to mail it? Are they going to send it by Raven? Like, what
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah, because I don't know how. She just said you have a letter.
Yeah.
Like who brought it? You know what I'm saying? Like, did he ride up to on the back of the pony? I mean,
don't
what
know.
did he? How did he?
But that dynamic's interesting that Ozymandias, like you said, set that up. Because when he said your servant, I was like, your servant? Like,
Right.
he just shot at him.
Right,
Shot at his
right,
master.
and
Like,
told him that look, next time I won't go for the feet. Like, I'm
Right.
proficient enough to
Right.
to get the job done
Right.
next time. But
And Ozymandias was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
he kind of halfway threatened him a little bit, like, don't come at me like that again. Thank you for letting me know about how good the tomatoes are.
I don't know if he's
It's weird.
completely nuts.
Yeah,
Like,
man, something's going on with my man. Like, but
well, I mean, he did.
drop a squid.
I mean, he did an unthinkable act. Like, he
Yeah.
really plotted. And that's what makes that joke so heavy to me when she's saying each hero goes to God and says, try to let me in the, should I go to heaven? And God's like,
Nah.
no,
Nope.
you're going to hell. The interesting thing, and my wife pointed this out, not to jump back to the graveyard was called Tartarus Acres,
Yes.
which is a reference to hell.
The Grecian
It was.
hell.
It
Right.
was.
Wow.
Right.
so
That's right.
anyway,
Interesting.
yeah.
Education. See, that's what you get on Watchmen Age podcast. You get an education.
Yeah. Well, for
don't
my
get
wife, I give her credit.
Well, but I'm saying,
not
but
educated at all.
we were the conduit through which that education from your wife was delivered.
Absolutely.
I've used Wikipedia more from a TV show
Right.
on Watchmen over the
Right.
past 3 weeks
Right.
than,
Yeah.
Exactly.
than I have in a long time.
Exactly. This is on some Westworld kind of stuff right here. Timelines and, if you're suggesting what you're suggesting, probably the case with Ozymandias, but
This millennium,
It doesn't-
this millennium clock is going to have some importance. They made a point to reference that, and they reference how this new character that I'm embarrassed. It starts with a T, and they made references to it. Even in the phone, she created the phone technology to call Mars.
I tried
And her
looking it
logo-
up and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those the booths. That's so interesting. It's
they're
like
all
a
over the
gimmicky booth everywhere, and there's graffiti on
It's
them.
like
and
praying. Like you can just go into these
confession.
booths and send a message to Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a really strange
it's like
dichotomy.
a confession booth.
yeah.
And so
And I have to turn my brain off from the movie because I was like,
Right,
coming off the movie, I'm like, well,
movies
why
think,
would
why
people-
would they like
yeah,
that?
why
But
would they
no,
like that,
but no,
dude? It's like,
they
go to
think
Mars,
an
like-
alien,
Yeah.
alien.
Right.
I mean, even in, you can even tell, like going back to the PDPD and stuff, and the New Frontiersmen and talking about the white flight. We're going to Mars.
Right.
And at the end, because that's their. That's
we're
their,
doing that now, right?
That's what's so funny.
It's
But-
so weird. It's so surreal.
Yeah, I know.
We're
But the
trying
guy
to go to
was so
Mars,
funny,
not
he
the
was
moon,
like,
to
the
Mars.
planet is red, and Dr. Manhattan is blue. And there's only one color missing. And that white guy. He's just like us. Let's get to Mars. It was hilarious. It's like, but when you read that stuff, it's just, these people They embrace Dr. Manhattan, so it would make sense that there would be these little booths where people can go to the people, to the guy they think it would further their agenda and would welcome them with open arms and let them in, because Earth is out of control. We got red.
But it's a one-way. He's not talking back, is he?
No,
He's just throwing stuff back.
no, yeah. No.
Oh, we gotta get into that too.
Man, what? Yeah, we might as well. I mean,
So anyway, she's in that booth and she's talking to him and giving.
and there's a time limit on this stuff. You got to get it in
Yeah.
a certain
Right.
amount of time. You can't.
But she's
talk all day
explaining
long.
Night Owl comes a god,
Yep.
comedian comes a god,
Fail.
and I'm the daughter that threw the brick.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
the way
the-
that closed out was
I was
just
like-
chills.
Right. And she doesn't get a response. They close the call, and then she walks out, and then
Wham!
Car.
Down
car.
comes the brick.
yeah, the answer.
Of sorts.
Yeah. What throws me off is a magnet is what picked up the car in the first place, but this seemed like it just came from
It
outer
just-
space.
yeah,
It
it just was
like
just
God
like,
just
eh.
threw the car down there and
Down
said,
there.
"Here you go.
Here you go.
Here's your answer.
There you go.
I get your punchline."
Yep. I get it.
You know,
I get it.
so-
And she knew it too. It's like
Right.
she was a lady to see it.
right?
And she almost got crushed, but
Yeah,
she didn't.
yeah,
Enjoyed the answer, which was cool. This show is crazy.
yes,
I think one thing just that really stuck out in this show, I don't know if you guys know much about the music behind the show. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross.
Yeah.
So another thing for me that really drew me in is Trent, probably my favorite music artist, who's more well known as Nine Inch Nails, and probably seen them live 5 or 6 times. But a lot of the favorite tracks back when it was just Trent and Nine Inch Nails and Atticus Ross wasn't in the picture were the atmospheric tracks with no vocals, because it was this
it's
tense but subliminal and kind of unnerving but also soothing. It's a really weird sort of line that he toes on that. And then when he collaborated with Atticus Ross on The Social Network, and I think they won was it a Grammy,
right.
and the irony was that they won a Grammy for an original score and there wasn't a single actual musical instrument used in that. And since then they've Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was another score. The Vietnam War, Ken Burns documentary, I think it was like a 13 or 14 part documentary on
They
PBS.
did.
They
Wow,
did the
they
music
did
on
that.
that.
Wow.
I'm just listing some of the high points, but
And it's atmosphere, not necessarily music.
right,
per
it's
se.
it's not it's that sort of atmosphere. It's very similar kind of music like what you hear
Right.
in Watchmen. And I feel like I recognize it was their music immediately. Like it's just like any favorite artist. Like you just, that's so and so. But this one, when she's telling the stories and they repeat the same kind of track, and it just really helped sort of build the emotions on that. Yeah, it was.
So now I got to go back and
Right.
that stuff goes over my head at times.
Yeah, I catch myself going back, like even when she was doing the robbery, or the fake robbery, there was a guy holding a newspaper and it said Grisham.
Yeah.
And what was that like?
I know
Were
what
they
you're
trying
talking
to? I felt like there was a point. Like they made a point. He, the way he's holding it is just kind of like, look here, for a second.
Yeah.
You know, and
Pause the
You're
TV. Take a
right.
look.
Yeah.
They threw Black Freighter in there too, real quick. If you didn't catch it,
Where?
it was on a sign. Like she was pulling into a hotel or somewhere. It was Black Freighter something.
Yeah, the
Did you see
hotel.
that?
That's
yeah,
right.
Hotel.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, Black Freighter Inn or Black Freighter something. But it was so quick that if you didn't see it, the first
Game
time-
Warden's giving me a little Black Freighter vibes. His flag, wasn't it a pirate's? Wasn't
It
it
was.
the Jolly Roger
Yeah.
just chilling on a scythe?
I need to look at that again because I just saw him shoot. I didn't see
Yeah,
the flag.
okay.
The flag, he passes it on his way to the Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
and then that's when he's like, all right, I know I was over the line.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
there's
this
like
flag
this
was the
gun line
demarcation.
that you can't cross.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like every little detail, like I just love the pacing of it. Like when you get introduced to Silk Spectre, the taxi pulls up and it's American Hero Story.
Yeah.
And it says comedy begets tragedy.
Yeah.
And the whole episode she's
Yeah.
telling a joke.
Right.
Like I'm just
Yeah.
It does.
it's like and then she walks out of the taxi and it's like we're into the story.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
just
time to go.
little
Yeah.
little details
little
like
ones.
that is just excellent to me. Like
Yeah.
Best show on TV.
The cinematography, I think, is probably I think, some of the best on TV right now. When you
Right.
look at how they do some of the transitions.
Right.
If, for example, there's where she's sitting in her apartment or her house, and you see in the background the 4 watchmen,
Yeah.
and she is juxtaposed sitting in front
Right,
of hers.
in front of hers,
and
and
the
then she
camera
moves,
pans
yes.
out. There's some
Yeah.
other where she's standing in front of a gate, and the
And
gate shapes
the
kind of
eye-
owls.
The owl eyes, yes.
And it's like
Absolutely,
little things, too.
absolutely.
Like
Angela's owl eyes
Yes.
when she found her in the holes, like, oh,
Right.
I found
Yeah,
you in the hole.
yeah.
She had the owl
Yeah,
eyes,
right.
And Angela walks after she does a ooh.
Yeah.
The owl eyes are still on, and she looks at the owl eyes and just gives kind of like a shudder, like a look, like, oh,
Yep. It's like little things like that. There was
Right.
a shot. Again, I know I'm bouncing around now. There's a
no,
shot
we bounce
That's
around
what
all
we
the
do.
time.
That's how we do. Well,
in episode 2 that it was kind of drawn out a little longer, and I thought, what, something about that shot, and I went back and was watching it again. Hopped back on Reddit to see, am I the only one kind of thinking this? There's a scene where she's lowering Judd off of where he's been hanged,
hanging, yeah.
and it's kind of shot from his, like, she's behind him and she's got her arms up and she's lowering him very slowly. Then at the end of the episode, when she's lifting Will up in her car, I would think from a cinematography standpoint, this was intentional because it's like the same angle. She's picking him up very slowly, but the shot lingers for a good 5 to 10 seconds
Interesting.
longer.
Right.
So it's like this, I may be looking into it too much, but this whole
Probably not.
Judd is
HBO.
being sort of lowered out of her life while Will is being raised up within it, and the angles were the same, and
Oh,
just
that's interesting.
the
Yeah.
symbolism in it.
Right.
There's stuff like that littered just throughout it.
Even when they were lowering him, she was hugging him.
Yeah.
Like she was, and I love her character because she's very good at masking, and we didn't talk about masks, but like she's very good. Even though she's wearing a mask, she masks her emotion.
Yep.
She even masks her emotion. I think with her husband too, because
Yep.
he has to ask her questions like, "Hey, are we all right?
And he's like,
You all right?"
yeah.
Or he's very like he's very
perceptive,
observant.
though.
He's
Yeah,
like
he knows.
when
He even said it.
Yeah, he said, I got a call from Judd's wife. She
She sound good, even
she
though
sounds
she's not.
good, but
Kinda
she's
like
not. And he said, kind of like you.
Yeah.
And then she kind of looks at him. I was like,
Yeah.
this is just.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
show is just.
It's the best show on TV.
But I love how Laurie sees right through.
Yes.
Right through the sister knights, the kind of that facade,
Right.
and just blows open the whole cover on her passing out and then going through and,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and
Look
looking
like a
for the
faint
claim.
her.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she just saw right through it. So that dynamic is going to be pretty fascinating to watch play out.
And I think what's intriguing about it is I think she's going to play both. It's going to be like good cop, bad cop
Yeah.
with Sister Knight. She's going to help her in some ways because she is a vigilante. But then there's going to be times where it's like,
Nah,
well, no, I
can't
need
go
to
there
toe the
with you.
line because
Yeah.
FBI told me I need to investigate this. But next episode is just to be crazy because
It
I
should
don't
be.
know what's going to happen. Like, I know we got to get introduced to crap. Lady, I think
yeah,
Lady
yeah.
Trife or whatever. I forgot her name, but I'm butchering y'all. I apologize. I will get it right, and I will apologize on next episode because she's going to be an important character because she's playing. It's almost like she's taking the Adrian Veidt role for this iteration of the Watchmen. It's like the characters are getting replaced. It's like, yeah, we don't have comedian, we don't have Night Owl, we don't have Rorschach, but we have the 7th Cavalry that's acting as Rorschach in spirit, even though they're twisting some of his words, maybe. And then, and that's a big maybe, because are they really twisting his words? Like, they might be telling the absolute truth. Like, they twisted it and said race baiters and stuff like that. They did that. But, like, this whole, like, cop cavalry dynamic, it makes you feel weird. It's like, cops don't feel right here. Like, I want to know about Panda. Like, who's that guy?
Yeah, I'm
Like,
still trying to figure out what that
Panda
is.
was my favorite cop. I was like, all right, here's
dirty
one
panda.
person who is level-headed.
Right. Albeit looks the craziest.
Yeah.
With a dirty panda head on his.
and he is black and white. The world's only in black and white.
That's. Yep.
Not colors of the not colors to hide
No.
what the world is. So
That's right.
a lot of dialogue points to those things too. So
Space
Man.
Jam. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's
Did
not
we
that
miss
great.
anything? There's nothing else, really.
Man,
I think we covered everything.
We'll skip.
It was a pretty simple show. Like
yeah.
This episode,
simple but complex.
yeah.
At the same time,
Right.
and confusing, simple and confusing. If it's an oxymoron right there.
Right.
Simple and confusing. At the same time. But,
Right.
I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned music, but not songs. Just one thing that was noticed, and then I started, as I was going through rereading, I was noticing more. Ozymandias says he likes dub music in an interview in one of the little back issues, and that's why we've got the reggae dub music while he's making the suit. And also, Lori mentions that she loves Devo.
yeah,
And that's why
that
she's
was the first thing she played.
playing Devo.
Played that Devo.
So if we get to see Daniel, I'm going to predict that we get some Billie Holiday in the background. Since he said that that's his favorite music. So they're just grabbing all this information out and just keeping it up.
And they're teasing you with the owl. They're like, well,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, why she have an owl in there?
Keep
Yeah.
going. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Should we even talk about her and Petey? That was just interesting. I
wasn't
didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I saw the
Like they not yeah. They,
well, I saw the device.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to relax, and which was interesting because it was huge. It had a blue light and it had the magazine, and I was just like, okay. And then Petey
Again,
interrupts that.
peak weirdness. There's a scene in The Leftovers that is of the same magnitude of shocking value where you're
But
like,
it was humorous at the same time.
What is going on? But
Right.
it forwarded the plot, but it was
Right.
just way out there.
Right.
Yeah. This,
Yeah.
I just went on ahead and disregarded that. I saw it and I was like, it's more than I need.
Right. She can
But yeah,
handle
they-
it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Petey, Petey interrupts, and I wasn't expecting that at all. I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." Because, like,
She chose to go to Petey.
yeah,
She
Yeah.
put it, and she's
Yeah, I'll put
guess-
this down.
when in need, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I think going back to what we were talking about earlier, so if I remember the graphic novel correctly, she was kind of almost, there was an expectation for her to keep Dr. Manhattan happy.
Yes.
And so she was very much used by the government for sex appeal and sort of objectification. And so, yeah, while she may not have been fully sort of explored as a character in the novels, one could say that might be intentional because she was, kind of put in a corner, objectified in the way that she was. But what are sort of the mental, long-term mental, emotional ramifications of that when you're told this is that expectation, and then
She just keeps
she
perpetuating
embraces the her heritage,
That role.
her parental heritage and some of these other aspects, but also how does that manifest itself with her interaction with Petey? So I saw that as somebody who's struggling with some mental, emotional issues because of that, and that was just a great kind of uncomfortable, but you understand kind of why she
it
might
said
do
a lot
that,
about her character, and that's why I'm bringing it up for humor value, but I'm also bringing it up because it does paint a picture about her, because it was like
and vulnerability, which she did
Yes.
not show the entire episode, but she does at the end.
Petey was a punching bag, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, now he stood up for
Yeah,
himself,
he made it.
but it was almost like she made an acknowledgement, like, "Yeah, you're a man now."
Yeah. Welcome.
Literally.
Welcome in.
Yeah, welcome in. And why did he come to his room? Why did he come to her room? It was almost like he was surprised. Like he was coming to her room for.
Wait, did he come to her room?
I
Or
thought
did
she
go-
went to his room.
I think she was outside of his door.
I need to watch that again. I could have sworn I thought he.
I'm pretty sure she said, "I want humanity," and
Or did she? Wait a minute. She opened. Okay, so she opened the device
Petey the
and she
pimp.
looked at it. She
started
looked at
putting it together, and then
I
closed it.
thought Petey interrupted, like he knocked on the door, and she put it
Now we
away.
gotta
I feel like we
Yeah, I
gotta go
gotta
back.
watch it
It's
again.
good reason to go back and watch the whole
Yep.
episode again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
I'll do it tonight.
that was great as well. Even though it was off and really odd, it still painted a picture of her.
It's hilarious that Petey did put his mask on. He had his little.
Oh, that's right. And she was
She
like,
probably,
"That's ridiculous.
yeah,
You're not
but she
the Lone
probably
Ranger."
told him to. Again,
Put
it
it
just
on.
goes back into
Right.
the all
Right.
those
What I
things.
like.
Yeah,
Right. Oh, because with her and Dan,
Yeah, yeah.
they couldn't
Yeah.
until
Right.
Dan wore the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wore the suit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah.
Lingering effects.
So maybe Petey was smarter than he thought. He's like, I'm going to bring this mask when in Rome.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He
And
said
she was
that.
like, get out of here.
Yeah, that's all right.
Right. Yes.
Petey the pimp.
Yes. Pied
Pimpin' Petey.
Piper.
Petey the projector pimp.
Petey the projected pimp.
Yes.
All right,
Excellent
so
episode.
I guess we could just shut it down
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that. Man, thank you again, Willis, Jason. Thank you so much for accompanying us and getting just your perspective. Like I said, we pride ourselves on being the podcast that does things a little bit differently. If you're bored, sorry. If you don't want to hear that kind of stuff, you know what to do.
Seriously, thank you for sharing your perspectives. I know, that might be uncomfortable to share. Like, you're part of a hometown that something like that happened. I mean, but we live on this earth, and this
Right.
stuff happens.
Exactly.
There's this disconnection, or this. I think the thing that's maddening is there's not an acknowledgement of history.
Yep.
And like, you have something where people don't know about, like the Tulsa events, and it's like, I didn't know that happened. It's like, okay, while you're here,
Yep.
how can we not let this happen again?
Yeah.
How do things like this keep happening in history as it relates to race?
And just because you didn't know it happens doesn't mean you shouldn't take the time to stop and learn about it.
Right.
Just because you're like, ooh, I didn't know this, I don't want to know this.
Right.
That just opens the
And
Doors
it's
door.
not,
to investigate.
and it shouldn't be a reflection of you unless, I guess, maybe you carry some of the same feelings.
Right,
I
but
don't know.
man, it's just you get to personalize it, man.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You don't want to personalize it.
Yeah,
Right.
I was trying to remember who gave the quote. Was it those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it, or remember history?
Right.
Yep.
I can't remember. I was trying to look that
One of
up,
the
but
presidents, I thought.
very, very relevant.
And that's what's playing out in this. This is what's playing out in this episode too.
Yeah.
It seems like a different. It's a different situation, not on the scale of like New York and L.A. and
Well,
giant squids, but
back to Peter. All right, I can't say that name right.
It's all right,
But
we know what
back to just one of the documents that was in there from episode 2 about New York was a trauma event, Tulsa was a trauma event, and there's this big court briefing about how the trauma lives on generations and generations, and you can't just ignore it,
Right.
and it doesn't get better.
Right.
I'm wondering how
it relates to
the
race.
new
We talk about that like a generational trauma. Like my
You're
father
still
has
bearing the
when I'm like
effects
15
of
or
that.
16, my dad has to give me a talk about how to be like the guy that's
At
in
the
the
very
cavalry.
beginning,
That your hands 10 and 2.
Yep.
Hey, sir, can I
I'm
open up my
I'm
glove
going for my
compartment?
glove compartment.
Be super
I'm
nice.
Not armed.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Man, but it's wonderful.
yes,
The show is the greatest. It's the best show on TV.
yes.
Appointment viewing. Don't DVR and watch later. Run, don't walk.
And also talk to other people about
Yeah,
it.
man. Talk to the people about it. Don't be
About
afraid.
the thing, like talk about the Easter eggs, but talk about the
What about
historical
this?
things.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
if you dig an Easter egg up and you find that it points to something in real history, like explore that too. Don't go,
Yeah, because
history.
sometimes you don't even know. Like I didn't know about those leaflets
Correct.
being dropped by the
that
journalists.
was new to
I
me.
didn't know. I thought I didn't know that was real.
Right.
And then I was like, that's real.
Right.
Apparently they did it all the time.
Yes.
In multiple wars and stuff like that.
French did it. The French did it as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
whatever you got to do to get an advantage to get your propaganda out there.
Right.
So. But again, everybody, thank you for taking the time to listen. Again, that's patreon.com/EST1982 podcast on patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. You can hit us up, EST1982 podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and the Facebook group also is very lively.
Very lively.
Yeah, a lot of discussion. I think I got a little tense here.
But it's okay. The thing
But it's
is,
good.
It's good to talk about.
Yeah, as
these
long as you
things.
do so intelligently, y'all.
Right.
Don't get out here, being stupid.
Right.
Don't do that. Yeah, just talk, as if you have some measure of sense and logic and And again, try to be as amicable as you can possibly be, because these conversations are worth having. You might learn something, man, quite honestly, if you just come at things from a different perspective, which we like to offer. And which is why we brought you two here. We'd like to thank you, Jason and Willis, again for joining us here.
Thank you.
Thanks
we
for having us.
appreciate it. And y'all, until next time, man, we'll holler at you.